Here are the horoscopes for the week of the 27th of February to the 5th of March 2017. We're coming out of eclipse season, so the way that eclipses work is that you'll get a full moon eclipse and a new moon eclipse 2 weeks apart, and then 6 months' time we'll have the reverse. So we've just had a full moon eclipse, and we're just very recently, yesterday on Saturday, coming out of the new moon eclipse, which was 8 degrees Pisces. So there's a lot of Piscean energy around at the moment. The sun is going through Pisces, the moon has just been eclipsed at the 8th degree, and we also have Neptune and Mercury going through Pisces as well, and they're all meeting together over the next few weeks. So 4 times Pisces energy. So when the sun goes through Pisces, it's the last sign of the zodiac. We spoke about it last week, how we need to dive in to our emotional intelligence and rinse ourselves out everything that we've picked up that we don't want to take forwards, but also taking the awareness first. We're not just getting rid of for the sake of getting rid of. We're looking back over a whole year to the last spring equinox to see what have we learnt in our emotional intelligence, what have we stored in ourselves, what serves us, and then we can determine what we need to release. So for the next few weeks, as we approach the spring equinox, as we get ready to go over and step up and expand into the next cycle, we're having a retrospective, we're having a soul retrieval, we're looking at that cellular knowing and really tuning in with that, because this is where we really learn in life. It's not through the mind, it's not through the brain, it's not through the thoughts and the actions and the meeting with people. It's the internalization and the deep wisdom that we get in our bodies. So we're looking at intuition, imagination, retrospective looking, to regather ourselves, to remember ourselves, and to get ready to refresh ourselves in the next few weeks. But that's just the sun. We've just had a new moon in Pisces as well, which, as we all know, is a good time for setting intentions over the next couple of weeks. But with an eclipse, we don't rush out to set those intentions, because we need to wait to see, is there a sudden message that comes through as those two bodies' fields, their electromagnetic fields, are slightly interfering with each other when one body goes in front of the other. So there can be a sudden change to the dynamic. So we're coming out of the eclipse period now, but we're looking at setting those intentions, and maybe the intention should be to gather ourselves, to remember ourselves, and to go in and honour our deep inner knowing rather than being on the external, outward thinking and doing. So Mercury has just gone into Pisces as well, and this is a very magical aspect, because Mercury is the magician, as above so below, what we tune into and therefore what we manifest into the real realm, into the physical realm. And Mercury in Pisces is very, very intuitive. We can tune into different thought forms, different collective fields. Your thoughts aren't created in your brain, you're tuning in to massive thought forms. And once we're conscious of this, then we don't have to accept default. We don't have to tune in just to the collective field that's the strongest at the time. We can actually choose and fine-tune, choose where we actually point our mind, as it were, what we're thinking on, what we're focusing on, and therefore process those thoughts into reality. So it is the magician. It's a very watery, very evocative kind of feeling. Not good for those that like to plan and control and have rational thought, but there's too much of that anyway, and that's kind of pointless this week with all the other action going on. So let's tune into our intuition, let's tune into our manifesting powers, let's tune into higher thought forms and actually look at our own magician. What are we calling down and what are we bringing into reality? That's the job of Mercury in Pisces. But it doesn't stop there, because by Wednesday the sun meets with Neptune in Pisces. So we've looked at the sun in Pisces and the need to actually collect our soul to go in and find that soulfulness. But when the sun meets with Neptune in Pisces, Neptune is our channel. It's our tuning fork, it's our reverberator. So when we stand in alignment with Neptune, when the sun shines its light on the channel that is Neptune, then that's where the real fine-tuning can be done. That's where the real sensitivity will be. Because if we're in alignment, then we can receive. When the sun shines its light on Neptune in Pisces, that's all we need to do, is to be in alignment. So if anything, on Wednesday, as little activity as possible, as much going inwards as possible, just fine-tuning, make coherent that alignment, recalibrate ourselves and set ourselves to receive, because the fine vibrations can really come through the channel of Neptune, and it's a very soulful, it's a very good spiritual connect. And if we just still on Wednesday while the Sun and Neptune meet, then we'll be able to feel into that wholeness. So a very, very beautiful and special aspect coming in on Wednesday. Then by the weekend we have Mercury meeting with Neptune. So it just keeps going. So the Magician meeting with the High Priestess, at least that's how I see it. So can we actually take the tuning in of our thoughts that we've been practicing this week? What are we tuning into? Can we raise the vibration? Can we therefore process and bring into reality higher thought forms? And then bring that through the alignment of Neptune, which is the beingness, it's the oneness, it's the wholeness. So to just actually be true to that, to be still enough that we can receive those higher thought forms, that we can receive that inspiration, that we can align with our imagination and therefore alter our manifestation. So a very, very Piscean week with the Sun, Moon, Mercury and Neptune all meeting at various points to tune us in to what we need to be feeling and being at this very precious part of the yearly cycle. A couple of other things that are going on this week as well. We have Jupiter in Libra opposite Uranus in Aries. And the thing about this is we've got yet another 22. So the last 4 or 5 full moons have all been at 22 degrees. And now we have Jupiter at 22 opposite Uranus at 22. So what does that mean? Well, we're dealing with 22 as double 11, so it's double illumination and how we're building upon it. So we can see that if you have a bright idea, if you have a sense of vision and genius, then what are you going to do with it? So Jupiter in Libra is clearing out our relationship with ourselves, balancing the inner, the outer, the upper, the lower, and actually making us feel less dependent on others, less reaching out, less attachments, but just feeling strong and centred in our relationship with ourselves and the world and others. And Uranus in Aries is rewiring our brains. It's bringing in that vision, that independent thought, so that we can break down the old thought systems that may have had us imprisoned in our relationship with ourselves, restricted, distracted, or in need in our relationship with others, and wanting and relying upon, or being too responsible for and distracting ourselves by looking after others when we should be looking after ourselves. So we have space and independence really in our relationship with ourselves. You've got to look after yourself first before you can look after other people, but it's not fair to rely on other people to look after you as well. So there's this real sense of authority and self-responsibility and independence and liberation that comes through this Jupiter in Libra opposite Uranus in Aries axis. And then by the weekend we have Venus turning retrograde in Aries, so the energy is really going to head towards Aries next week as we see Venus go retrograde, which means taking it inwards, and we need to go back and reconnect with our love, our love of creativity, our love of self, our appreciation, our gratitude and our values, and energize those in the sign of Aries. Because many times we take for granted our talents, we take for granted our abilities, just all the beautiful colours around us, the nature, the creativity, just the joy of the simplicity of life, light, sound, smell, all of these things we just tune out from and concentrate on our narrative and our story and our thought processes. But can we stop and start to appreciate the simple things in life, reconnect and energize with our own uniqueness and our own talents, and recalibrate and relight our own inner fire, to prioritize feeling over doing, to really get to know ourselves, to really know who we are without any external influence, and also have a look at maybe the multi-lifetime perspective. Who are we and what do we feel that we've come here to contribute? What is our alchemy? What is our magic? What is our cellular resonance? What is our unique vibration? And to reconnect with that, and to dive and swim in the Pisces waters without feeling like we have to act upon that just yet. So that's the beginning of the week, and then as we come towards the end, the Master Builder 22, Jupiter in Libra and Uranus in Aries, tuning in to what we're building, and by the weekend, Venus retrograde, tuning into our core abilities and our love of self and our value for all things beautiful, and reconnecting and relighting those fires. So those are the horoscopes for this week, and I'll see you next week. As usual, if you'd like to see where this is happening for you, it will be happening for different people in different places in their charts. So that's why I make myself available one-to-one or over Skype to tune into your own birth chart and have a look at where this is happening for you and how you can make the most of it. Or if you'd like to study astrology, I have my online group where we discuss at least one current feature every week so that we can dive into that ourselves and share our experiences. Or I have my online courses where you can pace yourself and you can work with me with structure over a 1 to 3 year period, actually learning astrology so that you can do this for yourself. So for any of that, please do contact me, zoehind7@gmail.com.